Salute, salute. Welcome back to Dumb Crimes and Criminals. I am your host, Rick. You're now tuned in to the funniest true crime podcast in the world. Yo, I be going crazy with the air horn. I just like the sound of it. You know what I'm saying? I like the sound of the air horns, man. Let y'all know I'm in the building. You dig? Listen, man, if you tapping in for the first time, man, thank you. I appreciate you. If this your first episode listening to Dumb Crimes and Criminals, do me a favor, go check the catalog out. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself up to speed. Subscribe, follow. You know what I mean? Tell a friend. Tell a friend about the podcast, man. You know, I believe in word of mouth. I still believe in word of mouth. I think that's the best way to get something heard. You know, you can go buy ads and you can go buy billboards and do all that stuff. But come on, man, we drive past billboards all day. You know what I'm saying? How many times do you look up at a billboard and actually go and check out what you're seeing on that billboard? How many times do you actually go do that? You know, but if somebody walk up to you and say, yo, you listen to podcasts? Yeah, yo, you got to check out Dumb Crimes and Criminals. It's funny. You'll be more inclined to check it out as opposed to just driving down a random street and seeing a sign that says Dumb Crimes and Criminals podcast. You know what I'm saying? By the time you get 3 more blocks, if you ain't write it down or something, you done forgot about it already. But if somebody is like constantly telling you like, yo, go check it out, you know what I mean? Or sending you a link to the podcast, you'll be more inclined to check it out, you know? So do me a favor, man. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell their cousin to get on the phone, tell their aunts and uncles and nieces and nephews about the podcast, man. You dig? Help me grow this thing. Also, if you have a dumb crime story, please feel free to hit the email at thedccpodcast@gmail.com. I am trying to build my own community. Hit me up on the email, send me the stories. If I like the story, it'll be the next episode. You dig? Man, you know what's crazy? I actually had I had a whole podcast uploaded yesterday. I uploaded it and I was in the process of making some clips for it, and then I realized that I was saying something wrong in the story. In one of the stories, I actually did like a 3-part story, and I called it Instagram Criminals Part 8. And in one of the stories, I realized that I was saying the wrong number. So I'm like, damn, man. I said, you know what? I'm gonna just clip this whole joint, and I'm gonna make that particular episode a standalone episode, and then we'll double back with the part 8 and all that. So here we are. But just want to let y'all know I did record, I did upload, but I had to take it down. But we back in the building. We going to Florida. Okay, on today's episode, we going to Florida. Yo, Florida, man, no disrespect, but y'all got some interesting individuals that come out of Florida. You understand? Florida be Floridering, you know. And again, no disrespect. I'm a New Yorker, no disrespect. But y'all be Floridering in Florida. I don't know what's in the water. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is, but when it comes to Florida, Florida is gonna Florida. All right. Today's story: a man was arrested. It says a man was arrested after attempting to cash a $368 million check so he could build the 80 million square foot underwater Italian restaurant. He's quoted as saying, It's always been my dream to own my own Italian. It's always been my dream to own the best Italian restaurant on earth. I'm 10% Italian. Cooking authentic Italian food is in my blood. I had planned to make the restaurant 80 million square feet. How on God's green earth? How on God's green earth? How on God's green earth do you plan on building a 80 million square foot restaurant? But he said, I plan to make the restaurant 80 million square feet and able to accommodate 30 million eaters at once. Plus, it was going to be totally underwater so people could look at sharks while they ate. Then the check used was purchased from a homeless man named Tito, who said the blank check would clear for any amount. Okay. All right, let's unpack this. All right, let's unpack this. First things first. No disrespect to the homeless man. You know, I pray that he come from up under that situation. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to see homeless people. If ever I do have some cash on me, I rarely have like actual cash on me, but at times when I do, you know what I'm saying, I give it to them. You know what I'm saying? Or even if I got some food, I'll give it to them. How do you buy a blank check off a homeless man who said that this check would clear any amount? And he's selling the check and he's homeless. Why wouldn't you think he would just go put whatever amount of money on the check and cash it and be good? Right? So we already know it's nonsense. You understand what I'm saying? We know this is nonsense. Of course we know it's nonsense, but I'm just saying, what is your mind to think that this homeless man had this magical blank check that you can go in there and try to cash this check for $368 billion? We're talking about billion with a B. What bank on God's green earth do you think has $368 billion that you can walk your dumb ass in there with a check and expect them to give you $368 billion that you bought from a check that you bought from a homeless man? Lord, help me out. He said that this was going to be 80 million square feet underwater restaurant. How on God's green earth do you plan on building a 80 million square feet underwater restaurant? How are you going to get the restaurant underwater? How is your patrons going to get to the restaurant? How long do you think it's going to take you? Let's hypothetically speak here. How long do you think it'll possibly take you to build the damn 80 million? Hey, man, I can't even talk. Listen, YouTube. There's a video called The One. There's a mansion called The One, right? Remember, it was supposed to be like one of the biggest houses ever built in the United States. Let me pull it up here. It was built around. It got started. They took construction started in 2014, and it ended in 2021. So it took them 8 years to build this mansion in Bel Air. It's called The One. Look it up on YouTube. They do it. It's a crazy mansion. They do a tour of it. But that mansion is 105,000 square foot, right? That mansion is 105,000 square foot. This dude said he was going to build a 80 million square foot underwater restaurant. That mansion took 8 years to build. How long do you think it would have took this dummy or this guy to build an 80 million square foot restaurant that he could seat 30 million Patreons at once? He wants 30 million customers at his restaurant at one time. How on God's green earth do you think you're going to have the staff? Florida, tell me what's going on. The check used was purchased from a homeless man named Tito, who said the blank check would clear for any amount. Tito finessed you. Tito got over on you. Tito knew that he can. You know what? I ain't even mad at Tito, because this dude was crazy enough to buy this blank check off Tito. So salute to Tito, because Tito went and got his money. Tito did what he's supposed to do. Hey, man, you want to buy this blank check? Yeah, give me $2. If you want to give Tito $2 for a blank check, you deserve to get what you got coming to you. Because why are you buying a blank check off a homeless man that told you that check can be any amount of money that you put on there? And the homeless man himself is not using the money to better his situation. No disrespect to the homeless man or any homeless man in the world. But I'm just saying, The man is homeless with a blank check, a magical blank check. Remember that movie Blank Check back in the days in the 90s? Remember when the little kid, when the dude ran over the kid bike, then he hit him with the blank check, and the kid was like, psh, he put a mill on that joint. Now, mind you, this is the early 90s. So $1 million went a long way. He bought a big mansion and a bunch of gadgets, and toys, kid stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Kid stuff. This dude didn't even walk in there with nothing reasonable. He didn't go in the bank and say, hey, man, I got this $2,000 check. He wasn't even trying to be logical. He had what do you have to be thinking to walk in a bank with a check for $368 billion? I really want to have him on this podcast because he got arrested. You understand what I'm saying? He got arrested. But I want to have him. I want to have him on the podcast because I got questions. I want to know how much you gave Tito for that check. How much did Tito charge you for that blank check? I want to know how much you paid Tito for the check. I want to know what type of story Tito told you to make you buy that check. I want to know why you thought that buying this check from Tito was going to be able to open up your dream restaurant. I also want to know when you went into the bank, I want to know the level of confidence you had as you stood in front of that teller and said, I want cash. I have to know. This makes no sense. This makes absolutely no sense at all. You know, you're not even going in there with no $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, $2,500. You're going in there with an unheard of amount that no bank in this world has. And you bought it off a homeless man in the street. If anybody is listening to this podcast from Florida, I want you to hit me up and let me know what's in the water. Matter of fact, let me know what water y'all drink so I don't drink that water. Yo, let me know. Let me know what type of water y'all drinking in Florida because I'm going to stay away from that water. Because there's something different, man. You understand what I'm saying? This is something different, man. You know? And it's wild because my man said the joint was going to be underwater. So you could sit there in his restaurant and watch sharks swimming by. Who the fuck? Yo, how are you gonna do this? How? How are you gonna do this, man? Like, yo, this again, man. These podcast episodes, man, they just make themselves, man. You know, they really do. They make themselves, man, because the moment you think, nah, somebody won't do that, it get done. You know what I'm saying? Like it really get done. And you be thinking like, that's wild. You know? When you really think it with a logical brain, you be like, yo, I wouldn't do X, Y, Z. But it's somebody out there that'll always do X, Y, Z. And it's the wildest stuff. These stories just write themselves. This man said he wanted to build an 80 million square foot underwater Italian restaurant that can seat 30 million people at one time. How the hell are you going to cook for 30 million people? How are you going to have enough staff for 30 million people? You understand what I'm saying? How many stoves do you plan on having in your restaurant for 30 million people? That's like a small country. Yo, man. Hey, yo, that's like a small country, yo. You understand what I'm saying? There's towns. There's whole towns that don't got 30 million people. How are you going to feed, and accommodate 30 million people at one time in the underwater? How long does you think it's going to take you to build an 80 million square foot restaurant? Like, for real. And it's underwater. Do you know how impossible that is? You understand what I'm saying? Like, do you know how long it takes to build a bridge? Do you know what goes into building something in the water? You ever seen them videos on how they build the bridge? They got to dig the hole. They got to keep pumping the water out. It's a lot that goes into making something in the water. You think you just gonna build an 80 million square foot restaurant with a fully functioning kitchen, bathrooms, a staff? Like, come on, man. Are we come on, man? Florida, talk to me. Florida, talk to me. Let me know what's going on, because this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, man. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, he got locked up, of course, and I think he should find a new dream. I ain't trying to knock his dream, but chances are you're not gonna build an 80 million square foot underwater Italian restaurant. Salute y'all for thank y'all. I said salute y'all for thank y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is Dumb Crimes and Criminals. I am your host, Rick. I'm out of here. Wait, hold on. This man said he gonna the 80 million square foot underwater restaurant that can fit 30 million people at one time. I'm out of here.